There are 5 houses in Great Karen today: Archaeus, Hesidius, Piscarilius, Lovakin, and Shazian. Karen began with refugees fleeing from the mainland during the God Wars. In the early days, only the Archaeus, Piscarilius, and Lovakin houses existed. The Hesidius and Shazian houses were established 3,000 years ago. Only one founder is known about to this day, and her name is Camorra Shazian. Camorra fought alongside Robert the Strong, Tristan Corvo, and Ivus during the Dragonkin conflicts. After the battle with the Dragonkin, Camorra took a piece of the Dragon Key and left for Zea, where she would establish the Shazian house. Camorra died of unknown causes and was buried in the Shazian crypts with her piece of the key. During the Council of Elders' reign, in the 5th decade before the Accord, a famine struck the kingdom. After 5 years of famine, Lord Hesidius IV met with the lords of the other 4 houses to forge an agreement. This agreement would give the Hesidius house half of each other house's land in order to grow crops and fight against the famine. The Hesidius house remains the largest out of the 5 houses to this day. During the 2nd decade after the Accord, about 1400 years ago, an entity known as the Winter Beast ravaged the lands north of Karen. The Winter Beast caused a seemingly endless winter that froze crops and livestock, causing serious problems within Karen. The Winter Beast ravaged the north for 3 decades. On 1778 of the 5th decade, Lord Archaeus I ordered the construction of the Archaeus House Library to preserve the history of Great Karen in case of disaster. On 1748 of the 7th decade, 1,340 years ago, a master Lovakin smith named Din created a plan that would assist in the imprisonment of the Winter Beast, known today as the Wintertide. Din's plan to imprison the Winter Beast in a special prison was approved by Lord Lovakin II. The prison was completed 800 days later with minimal casualties. On 2548 of the 7th decade, the Winter Beast was imprisoned behind the doors of Din. Lord Lovakin declared this day Winter's End. During the 1st decade, the lords of the 5 houses wrote the Royal Accord of Twill that detailed the rotation of succession between the 5 lords of Karen. This rotation meant that every decade, the next house in line will have its lord designated as the Grand Lord of Karen. During 1048 of the 13th decade, 1,280 years ago, Lord Shazian III seized control of Karen using the military under his command. After taking over Karen, Lord Shazian III crowned himself king and abolished the Royal Accord, forming the state of Karen. In the early days of the 32nd decade, 1,090 years ago, King Shazian VII took control of Karen. The king was corrupted by the power of the Dark Altar, which is the bridge between life and death. King Shazian VII became obsessed with the Dark Altar and began performing magical experiments on citizens that he summoned. After a while, King Shazian VII ordered an expedition to the west of the kingdom in an effort to expand the kingdom's territory. The expedition team returned from the land known as Kebos with news of a mountain that King Shazian would send a team to explore. The team was sent out on 1800 of the 36th decade and never returned. This mountain became known as Mount Quidamorton, which translates to certain death. During the late 37th decade, the Battle of Concourse began. King Shazian VII died in battle on 3316 of the 37th decade. He was ambushed by his own army of elder warriors, and his body was never recovered. A few days after the battle, Xeric appeared. It was said that Xeric had a similar appearance to King Shazian VII. It was quickly discovered that he had used the power of the Dark Altar to move his spirit from his mortal body into a corporeal one. With his newfound power, Xeric proceeded to kill off the remaining lords of the houses and claim Great Karen as his own. Using his lizard man army that was mass-produced in Mount Quidamorton, Xeric swept farms and cities, kidnapping people for use in his experiments. At the height of Xeric's reign, during the 43rd decade, 980 years ago, a resistance group called Humans Against Xeric attempted to kill Xeric by storming the Tower of Magic where he resided. This attack failed, and the resistance suffered the loss of 200 members. During 312 of the 47th decade, 940 years ago, Byrne, who was a farmer, witnessed a lizard man guard murder a child whilst working his farm. While outraged at what he had seen, Byrne slaughtered the lizard man with the entire town as his witness. Urging the people to fight back, the people revolted, and within 7 days the lizardmen were outnumbered and driven into hiding. During the revolt, the temple that Xeric used to create his army was destroyed, along with the altar that gave Xeric so much power. Xeric was weakened, forcing him into exile, traveling west to Mount Quidamorton. After the successful revolt against Xeric, Byrne was crowned king of Great Courend on 339 of the 47th decade. Nearly 940 years after Xeric was exiled from Great Courend, Xeric is planning his return by possessing Veos and using him to gain knowledge on the current state of Courend's hierarchy and general social organization.